So if Democrats ride a big blue wave to take back control of the House in November, our next guest could have a front row seat and make history to boot. Rashida Tlaib is poised to become the first Muslim woman in Congress. She won the Democratic primary in Michigan Tuesday to succeed John Conyers and will run unopposed in November. Rashida Tlaib joins us now. I can see the smile on your face when we continue to say, even 2 days later, the first Muslim woman ever elected to Congress, poised to make history there. So congratulations on your victory.
Thank you so much.
If there is this big blue wave in November, and it still remains to be seen if it will happen, but what do you think is driving it?
Look, first of all, I always tell people waves come and go. We need to own the ocean. And what I mean by that is, we need to be inspiring just a whole new generation of people that have just not been engaged in our political system and our government. I think that's what's been really disconnected right now with Congress and the people and the American people. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I know in the 13th congressional district, the families I talked to, it was always around issues, not different identifiers, not about specific things that are happening right now in D.C., but more about what's going on in their homes now, the challenges they're facing now, and feeling like they don't have a seat at the table or feeling like they're not being heard. That seems to be resonating, I think, even when speaking to other people that won their primaries. Us leaning on each other, like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who I absolutely admire. We talked about this. We do feel it, even with the questions from so many people around us, that there seems to be a disconnect between the American people and what's happening in Congress.
You brought up Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Last spring, when you were running, you said, we are changing the Democratic Party, getting rid of Democratic sellouts. Who are the Democratic sellouts?
I don't know, but I could tell you this. The number one thing I was asked at the door is, will you sell us out? Well, I could tell you I felt the pain from my own colleagues.
But you did write that. You wrote, we're getting rid of the Democratic sellouts.
Oh, yeah.
You must have had someone in mind there. So who do you have in mind?
Well, some of my opponents that support large tax breaks for, a hockey stadium downtown that took away millions of dollars from schools, watching my neighborhood schools close down, watching the fact that City of Inkster, which is part of my district, lose their school district. It's been really hard to see that those public monies shift away from schools and city services and to for-profit development. To me, that's against the democratic values. And to me, that's selling out on our families and so many people that put so much effort to get us in office, expect us to put them before corporate profits.
When you were elected formally in November, you will have a vote as part of the Democratic caucus as to who will be the next Democratic leader, whether it be the minority leader or the Speaker of the House. Will you vote for Nancy Pelosi?
Probably not.
Probably not.
That's my answer. No, probably not.
Why not?
Look, I think for me, I need someone that again, is connected with the different levels of poverty that's going on. The fact that there are structures and barriers for working families in my district that need to be dismantled, and supporting big banks and supporting efforts that I don't think put the people first is troubling. And I need somebody that fully understands why I'm so passionate about those issues, why I'm so eager to make sure their voices are heard. And at this point, even people back here, right here at home in Detroit, in the Metro Detroit area, they don't feel like they're being heard, and I think that starts at the top with leadership.
Is she one of the people you're referring to as a Democratic sellout?
Look, I don't know. All I can tell you is she doesn't speak about the issues that are important to the families of the 13th congressional district, and they are a priority for me. They're the ones who put me here. They're the ones who put faith in me, and I have to listen to them, and I have to make sure that I never back down and that I don't sell out personally. And if that person that is in leadership is still okay to take away the transparency requirements for big banks, to making sure that my families are not being discriminated by, healthcare being discriminated for getting health care coverage, or more importantly these days is about the fact that half of my families don't own their own homes in the 13th congressional district because the discriminatory practices by big banks are still happening, and no one is doing anything about it. This is happening right now on their watch, and no one is talking about it. All they're doing is taking away, look at Dodd-Frank. Look at what has been done just in the last 12 months in Congress. And again, that was done on specific people's watch and specific people's leadership, and that's something that I just can't forget.
Well, it was done with Republican leadership. We're talking about Nancy Pelosi as the Democratic leader, but I take your point right there. You say that you're running on the issues. You talk about all the issues that the voters in your district are discussing, but it has been interesting to me that you were more willing than many Democratic candidates to say that you're all in on impeachment. If you get elected, you very much expect to vote to impeach the president. Where does that rank in terms of priorities for you?
Look, when I talked to a senior citizen, literally after I won, she's like, "You're going to take care of it." I said, "You know, and I know that there is some sort of being reckless on the part of the President of the United States and some of his actions, and that those all need to be discussed openly in a public hearing, in a public process. I think that the investigation that's happening now is important, but I hope that it's going to be open and transparent and not be done behind closed doors, that the American people deserve to know exactly what the President of the United States has been up to. I personally am not about just focusing on that, but I can tell you, does anybody know anything about me? I'm pretty good at the second half of Law and Order, which is always about the accountability, about making sure that the truth is at the forefront as we proceed to making sure that every single American person and family is represented properly from the White House down to the members of Congress.
Rashida Tlaib, again, congratulations on your historic victory.
Thank you
we look
so
forward
much.
to having a chance to speak to you again in the future.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.